This is Elaine from Antelope Beads, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a pair of earrings with buttons. Antelope Beads carries a whole variety of tier cast buttons, and they are in 4 different finishes. We have gold, antique gold, copper, and silver. And for this particular project, I'm going to use 2 gold bamboo buttons. I have 2 4 to 6 millimeter Kazuri green beads, 2 ear wires, 2 pieces of wire about 3 inches, and 2 head pins. For tools, I have my looping pliers, flush cutters, and a couple pairs of chain nose pliers. You could also use a chain nose and a flat nose or even a round nose. So let's get started. I'm going to demonstrate this, not with a gold wire, but with a couple of pieces of copper wire, so you can hopefully see the process a little bit better, and then we'll finish the earrings with gold. So to start with, I'll flip the button over. It's got a shank on the back, and I'll start by putting the wire through the loop, and I will then take another piece and just curve it around through the shank. And this is now where I need my 2 pairs of pliers. I'm going to take 2 chain nose pliers. I'm going to grab these 2 ends and pull them down so my loop just barely extends above the button. Now when I do earrings, I like to work one side and then the other for each step so that I make sure they're uniform. So I'll take my second button, do the same thing. Got my wire through the shank, curve it around, and I'm making sure not to kink the wire, so I'm just sort of gently curving it around, back through the shank. And again, I will take that wire with my 2 pairs of pliers, just a little hard to pull without that, and I'm just going to pull it down and just make sure my 2 loops are pretty uniform. That looks pretty good. So let's move to the second step. So I will pick this up, I'm going to pinch the top of the button, and I will then curve the 2 wires around the bottom of the shank. I'll cut one of them off, my flush cutters, and then I'm going to just curve this up around to make a little loop at the bottom of the shank. And that's where I can hang a dangle. If I chose, I could just cut that second wire off and just have an earring component without the dangle, but I think I want to add a dangle to this project. So let's do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to curve these around beneath the shank in opposite directions, snip with the flush cutters, bring the second piece around, form a loop. Now I'm going to take a look at my loops, and I see that this one is a little bigger, so I'll just snug that up a little bit. Let's see how they look now. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe this one now needs to be a little bit smaller. And those look pretty uniform. A little bit smaller on this one. There we go. Okay. And then I simply cut that tail off. So I've actually formed a figure 8 beneath the shank. The curve goes around this way and then down and curves back up again so that these 2 tails actually meet right there. Flip this one off as well. Okay, now I'm ready to put my earrings together. Let's get that snugged up there. So now let me set these aside, and I will pull the 2 that I've already finished in gold. And again, this was just a little hard to see. Here they are. So I'm going to want to dangle at the bottom. So I will take a head pin and string the 4 to 6 millimeter Kazuri bead on it. I'm going to snip this off to about 3/8 of an inch. Okay. If I really want to be uniform, I can take my other head pin and snip it off to exactly the same length. Okay. So now I've got those all snipped off. Now I will take my looping pliers And I am going to grab the top of the head pin right at the top of this ridge right here. I will squeeze, roll it around, and just keep working that until it is right inside of one another. And then if I need to, I can take my plier and just kind of bend this out a little bit so my loop is nicely centered at the top. Again, I'm going to grab this at the top, I'm going to squeeze, roll. Okay. Now this one's off. This side is straighter than the other, and I want again the loop to be centered on the bead. So I'll put my pliers back in and use this edge right here, press my bead up to center my loop, and just adjust that so I've got my two loops. And then I will take a pair of chain nose pliers. I will open up this loop by just opening it to the side, add it to the bottom loop on the button. There we go. If I've done this right, the loop is not going to be too big. Close that up again. Here's my dangle. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to open up the loop. Again, I'm going to open it by pulling it to the side. Add it to the dangle at the bottom of the button. If I need to open it up a little bit more to get it on there, that's okay. There we go. Close it by just pushing it back in again. And then I add my ear wires. Same method, I'll open up the ear wire to the side, add the button dangle, close that up, open the ear wire, add it to the button, close it up, and I have my finished earrings. Thank you so much for watching. Please visit us at antelopebeads.com for more videos and lots of design ideas.